Austin, Texas was named a top 10 food city in America last year, so it can be difficult for a restaurant to stand out. That makes the story of Kanji so compelling. The chef you're about to meet moved to Austin and opened a restaurant that filled a void in that city's vibrant food landscape.
Sounds great. Thank you, chef.
On a Monday night, off in a restaurant's slowest.
But when it's steam out there, got a nice little chili on there too. Thank you.
The kitchen at Kanji is buzzing. They're booked full, and the team is gearing up for yet another busy night.
Order and jerk, curry, potato.
Yes.
Fire escabeche, 2-piece patty, and a prawns.
Yes. We do have a couple large parties coming in today, a couple different 8-tops.
That fact is still daunting.
And let's keep that culture, let's keep that energy.
Even after 3 years, for Kanji's chef and owner, Tavel Bristol Joseph.
People begging to get in. What's that like?
Kanji's home, Kanji's welcome. Kanji is walking in to a space where you may not understand this food, you may not understand this culture, but come on in and taste some of it, and then let me tell you the story.
That story is Bristol Joseph's own.
Yeah, that's so good.
Born in Guyana, a South American country with ties to the Caribbean, he was raised by his grandmother and an aunt, whom he would bake with every weekend, creating a love of cooking. He immigrated to the United States at 17, joining his mother in Brooklyn. It was at her urging he go to culinary school. But at 6'5", he was thinking about a different career.
How long is the meat cured for? I really wanted to be a basketball player, and I felt
Well, you're
like,
tall enough.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like that was the thing to do in America. Like everyone talked about going to college and playing basketball.
After stints at restaurants in New York and Arizona, he moved to Texas,
All right, so this is our oxtail.
where the pull and pleasures of the food he grew up with inspired him to take a leap of faith and open Kanji in a city already ripe with first-rate restaurants.
How did you get that confidence? You're not from Austin. You haven't even been here.
When you understand your why and you understand your purpose in life, that's when you find the courage to overcome and do the things that you never thought you'll be able to do.
The food is a blend of what he grew up with, like this starter of pink pineapple in a passion fruit sauce.
The pink pineapple we're bringing in from the Caribbean, the watermelon from Texas.
Is this your favorite dish?
Yeah, it's the most meaningful dish for me because every time I have this dish, I remember experiences that I had with my grandmother.
There's a wahoo ceviche with dragon fruit, sour orange, and Texas chilies.
It's so good, and it's so fresh.
A signature dish is the wild boar pepper pot in a sweet and spicy Guyanese sauce called casserie
It's delicious.
that Bristol Joseph imports from his homeland.
How challenging is that?
Oh, it has its challenges. There's times where the delivery didn't make it. Absolutely.
There's roti, a thin and flaky salted Caribbean flatbread that looks unassuming, but tastes out of this world.
With this, we do white Sonoran wheat, and it has olive oil and butter. So it's just this really good, flavorful bread that you use and you sop up. You got to eat with your hands. You sop up everything
There is a
with it.
stick of butter in every bite.
Perhaps most ordered at Kanji,
The star of the show is here.
the Jamaican jerk chicken, bursting with flavor.
To me, a jerk is not a jerk if you don't have some heat on it. You got to have the heat and so much flavor.
Yeah.
So this is like spicy, but yet still so flavorful.
So that's the jerk
Yeah.
chicken. Can I be a jerk and ask to help?
No, you're not a jerk. You can help jerk though.
Okay, what do I do?
All right, so all we want to do is just rub it all together.
He wouldn't disclose the exact blend of seasoning, but he did let me help.
Can't make jerk seasoning without Scotch bonnet. Wow, that looks good.
Am I doing
a
it?
good job.
The birds marinate 48 hours before their wood fire. A crowd pleaser night after night.
Are you a dessert guy?
I'm. Good question.
Desserts are decadent. Chocolate flan with orange zest, sea salt, and candied pecans in a pineapple caramel sauce. Coconut milk infused tres leches topped with peach jam and salted cream.
Uh-oh. You taking the whole thing?
Is this okay?
Yes.
Besides kanji, he's a partner in a dozen restaurants, including the newest, Nkosi, a 20-seat venue in San Antonio. 8 courses, all dessert.
We got some Trini-style street corn.
It's been a wild ride. Tavel Bristol Joseph is loving every minute.
And enjoy.
What's it like to see this place, as I did last night, packed, vibrant, jumping, line out the door, people begging to get in?
When I see people come in here and loving the food and loving the flavors and loving the vibe and the energy and the loud music, it shows me that you don't choose your greatness, right? The audience chooses your greatness.
The audience chooses
I love
your greatness.
that. And we've been diving in. He's so smart, he knows the way to our heart.
Right? Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We couldn't get that food, but he sent food.
I love that it's so casual and it's just so fun for people and it's still like top notch.
I was telling you guys, line out the door, and the food was incredible.
What do we have here? We have some pastries here. Because there's that one place he has that has an 8
8 desserts.
8.
This is not this place.
No, so he has like 10 restaurants now. He's clearly branched out, right? So this is like a monster cookie, and I think we can all agree it is a monster.
Cookie monster.
Cornbread.
Delicious.
He got his start as a pastry chef here in New York. So these are some of
wow.
his pastries.
So good.
In Austin, Texas, Chef Fermin Nunez is helping transform the city's culinary scene and picking up scores of prestigious awards along the way. His colorful and inventive recipes use flavors from Mexico to highlight food that is pure Texan. After starting his restaurant Suerte in 2018, Nunez has opened 2 other wildly successful establishments. He shows us how it all comes together, beginning where else but the kitchen.
We buy things, we chop them into little things, and we charge them more than what we paid for it. Restaurant 101, you heard it here first.
Fermin Nunez has the formula down pat at his celebrated premier restaurant Suerte.
We're gonna go 72 all this. Oh, amazing.
Fresh, local ingredients, cooked using techniques from his childhood in northern Mexico.
We're gonna take this beautiful food to 2A, please. Every tortilla that you have at Suerte with your meal comes from the masa that was ground this morning, not refrigerated, cooked to order.
Nunez calls this the backbone to Suerte. Masa, or dough made from dried corn. A team is dedicated to pressing up to 3,000 tortillas from it each day. A team with a fast, yet turns out, delicate approach.
Gotta put some muscle to it. Okay.
That might be, let's see how it is.
Oh no, did I do it too much?
Yeah, I think that might be a little too much.
Oh no!
Oh no!
I put too much muscle.
We gotta get it like that.
They don't look anything alike.
The chef takes pride in introducing diners to a different version of Mexican flavors.
We have big-eyed tuna.
And says the cuisine itself has often been overlooked.
It's the beautiful thing about Mexican cooking that it's one of the few cuisines that teaches you how to burn things on purpose. The most true in regards to Mexican cooking is that what is true is only what the last person told you.
He tells us first about his dip of chilies, garlic, and lentils, compacted into a paste and refried, before adding olive oil and Oaxacan crema, a substantial substitute for a familiar favorite.
When people visit Suerte, what do you want them to walk away with?
I want them to have a different idea or perception of what Mexican food can be. When we opened, we didn't have guacamole. We never really had chips and salsa on the menu, right? And when people said, oh, I'm going to a Mexican restaurant, without even looking at the menu, they'd be like, I'll have the chips and salsa.
Yeah.
And I've always had the mentality, if you're going to say no at a restaurant, you have to follow it by yes. That's hospitality to me.
Also part of Nunez's hospitality, a brightly colored tostada, oak grilled sweet potatoes,
You got to start with tortilla.
and a flavorful barbacoa of smoked goat with salsa cruda and roja.
It is smoky.
But few dishes have been with a 35-year-old as long as this. Carnitas topped with mole negro, a complex and classic sauce slowly prepared over 3 days.
Mexican food to me is all about sauce work because you have this thing that is like so precious as chilies and burning tortillas, burning onions, and then stewing it and then adding chocolate in the last time. Like, you can't recreate that with French cooking at all, right?
A mix Nunez has been working and reworking for close to a decade. Its deep flavors of nuttiness, heat, and sweetness, dependent more on moods than measurements.
It's one of those things that we have guidelines more than a recipe, because it's like all about feel. I myself have taken mole off the menu because I was the one that was doing it. It was bitter. It was not balanced.
It reflected your mood.
Yeah, it was very unbalanced, just like I was.
The restaurateur didn't always see food as an expression of himself. As a child, stability was his priority, as he spent his adolescence moving back and forth between Mexico and Texas. It wasn't until college that Nunez finally found his passion in the campus cafeteria.
I was a sandwich artist. I worked the Mongolian grill a little bit. I also worked the pizza station. But it was being in that special part of the kitchen that is like the camaraderie that I felt with everybody.
I love that you go to college and then the place that you feel the most excitement is in the dorm room cafeteria.
And things like that were like giving me all those flags that college was not going to be for me.
After switching to culinary school, he began learning the ropes in San Antonio restaurants, but uncertainty loomed.
Were there challenges in coming up through these kitchens with your immigration status?
Yeah, that was one of the hardest things I went through. So I came here on a student visa, and I overstayed my welcome. The challenge of going to Mexico and earning a living on a cook's salary was really frightening for me. But it was something that I was also very ashamed of, because I don't think people really understand of what you go through when you are undocumented, right? You don't have that fear of like driving to the grocery store and getting pulled over, and then maybe you don't make it back home.
As Nunez waited for legal residency, the kitchen became his refuge.
The beautiful thing about working the grill station on a Friday night is that you can't think about your immigration status because the steak needs to be at the pass in 6 minutes. That's also been my relationship with cooking. It's allowed me to manage my problems, but also like digest them.
He stayed focused on that part, eventually working his way up through some of Austin's best kitchens before opening Suerte. And a year after being named Food and Wine's best new chef, Nunez officially became an American citizen in 2022. He followed up Suerte's success last fall by starting another restaurant, Este, focused on coastal Mexican cuisine.
Yes. The corn is over there.
It also houses a large garden for his restaurants his mother now volunteers in.
You could say that Fermin cooks the food, but you help grow it.
That's right. That's what I do.
So this is your crop right
This
here.
is my crop here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something Nunez made possible by sponsoring her residency, and they hope her soon-to-be citizenship.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Smell. Smell it.
That was the biggest thing that I wanted to be a citizen for, to extend that to my mother through residency, to like extend that to somebody you love so much. Is the best feeling ever. We don't have to worry about much now. At this point, every problem is fixable, you know?
Yeah.
Because we've gone through so much.
Earlier this year, Nunez was named a semifinalist for a James Beard Award. And Este has been repeatedly hailed as one of the best new restaurants in not only Austin, but the country.
When you think about that and you think about what you went through.
Absolutely. I mean, if that's not the American dream, I don't know what it is, right? I think it's like sticking to what I believed in, what I love, and not representing my country that I love so much in a different country. Like, I love that I get to do that every day.
It was so wonderful getting to know Fermin and his family. By the way, suerte means luck in Spanish, and it's fair to say that he has created so much of his own luck. The tortillas, excellent. You go to Austin, you eat tacos, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you realize the secret is
Homemade
all
tortillas.
in the tortillas.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Cheers.
What do we have here?
We have quite a bit of alcohol.
Quite a beverage.
A way to start your day.
Nice
There's
pour,
no doubt about
but
it.
it has some.
This is my breakfast smoothie.
I love, and it looks like you're sitting in the restaurant right now. You can't see behind you. In there. It looks
I enjoy
very
this.
nice.
As the 7th most populous city in the U.S. and one of the fastest growing in the South, San Antonio, Texas draws interest from far and wide for its rich history, culture, and food. 6 years ago, it earned a rare honor, named a UNESCO Creative City of Gastronomy. This year, 6 chefs were chosen as ambassadors to its culinary scene. Omar Villafranca sat down with perhaps the most unlikely appointee, to talk about how he's keeping the traditions of the Alamo City alive.
So I gotta tell you guys, mise en place, mise en place, mise en place.
At San Antonio's Brackenridge High School,
get all your ingredients together.
Students are cooking up history.
And we need to keep tradition going.
John Tamez teaches them about their city's culture by showing them how to make tortillas.
I press down with my hand.
And other Mexican cuisine.
And I press at the same time.
Tamez is part teacher.
This was done thousands of years ago.
Part chef.
Give us some nice little height to this.
And now an ambassador, representing San Antonio as a UNESCO City of Creative Gastronomy, an achievement he thought would stay on the back burner.
I knew the chefs that were applying for it, and I'm like, there's no way. I mean, I'm competing against food and wine winners or James Beard nominees, people that have restaurants, people that are known for their food, you know, and I teach high school.
San Antonio is only one of 2 American cities on the list, joining culinary creative spots in Spain, India, Peru, and more across the world.
How important is the role that you play in keeping this creative gastro theme going for the city?
You know, we're teaching these kids technique, we're teaching these kids professionalism, we're teaching these kids, you know, how to get a job.
That impact is clear. One of Tamez's fellow ambassadors, Chef Leo Davila, was one of his own students.
I mean, that's got to reflect positively on you.
His food is phenomenal, you know, and if I was that little small stepping stone that kind of made him a little bit better, then that's great. But I mean, all the accolades go to him, obviously. But it did feel good to know that we're gonna be sharing this together.
Tourism is big business in the Alamo City, with an economic impact of $19 billion in 2022 alone. More than half of that money, $10 billion, was spent at bars and restaurants.
Pot pies or hand pies.
Tamez sees his students as the next wave of restaurateurs.
What's your favorite one so far?
Hopefully, the one I make.
Especially in a city like San Antonio, where we're a huge tourist mecca, there's jobs everywhere for these kids. Like, there's no way possible for you to be unemployed in the culinary field.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Just ask Diana Barrios Trevino, who built a legacy on keeping the culinary tradition alive. Her mother, Viola, started Los Barrios restaurant more than 50 years ago.
There was a lot of influence that came our way. It was the French, the Spanish, the Native Americans, the Germans. And I think everybody brought something to the table.
And everybody left something.
Everybody left something, and that's how new recipes were created. We do casero style cooking, cooking the way Mexican mothers cook in their homes for their families on a daily basis. We continue to do that 50 years later, and people continue to love that. And when they leave, their heart is full, you know, and their tummies.
Who wants this one?
While Tamez teaches his students the edible arts,
it's hot. Don't burn yourself.
He also hopes it becomes a lasting recipe for their success.
As long as there's a way to showcase the love of my city and the food of my city and my kids and my high school and my school district, that's perfect. That's all I need right there.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Omar Villafranca, San Antonio.
I know he said it was peculiar that he would be chosen and that he didn't think he'd be chosen as a high school teacher. But seeing the way that he's passing on that legacy at such a ground level, it makes total sense.
It's perfect for it.
Yeah.
I had to look up the criteria because there are a few other cities in North America I think should be on that list. Including New Orleans, by the way. On the dish this morning, we traveled to Austin, Texas to dine at Joe's Bakery, the Tex-Mex Mecca, which opens 6 a.m. 6 days a week, has been serving locals since 1962. More recently, the family-run eatery has attracted attention nationwide after receiving one of hospitality's highest honors. Brooke Silva Braga got up early to spend a day at Joe's.
Joe's Bakery has always been a place for early risers, a pre-dawn lifestyle Roseanne Maciel has known since elementary school, when her parents, Joe and Paula Avila, ran the place.
I used to sleep under the counter. We would leave early in the morning so they could come get things ready.
And they just like pull you out of bed?
They pull me out of bed.
Like what time?
2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
In pajamas?
Till it was time to go to school. So, I mean, I've been hanging around here a long time. 9:32.
Rose and her daughter Regina Estrada now run the place, a neighborhood hangout too boisterous
How you doing? I'm good. How are you?
to imagine anyone sleeping under the counter.
It's loud. Sometimes you can't even think. It's so loud.
But don't ask to turn down the jukebox. Many of these Mexican-American singers could be sitting at the next table.
Ruben Ramos comes in all the time.
And sure enough, a couple hours later,
Disculpe la molesta.
there he was, El Gato Negro himself.
Everything changes, but the place is still the same. So we love to come here because we know what we're going to get.
It's home-style Tex-Mex. The salsa still made in-house from fresh jalapenos. Tortillas, 1,400 of them a day, are pressed into balls, then flattened and cooked.
This is the one and only tortilla maker we've ever had. She's it.
How long you had her?
I want to say 30 years. It's long enough that when she starts needing stuff replaced, it's not as easy to find it anymore.
Yeah.
One part inheritance, one part duty. It's now mostly Regina's job to keep her grandparents' recipes coming out of the kitchen.
Why do people love the bacon so much?
So it's a 2-day process. Hand dipped in flour. It sits in the refrigerator overnight, and then they cook it on the grill. So it has the illusion of being fried, but it is not.
It's not fried.
It's not fried.
Why doesn't everyone make it this way?
I don't know.
And why doesn't everyone make rich, cumin-soaked carne guisada like this?
Oh, wow, that's really good.
A lot of people use beef, we use pork, and so one of the things that makes it different is it's a lot softer.
And yes, just by the entrance, inside a glass case, is an assortment of Mexican treats.
How much is a cinnamon cookie?
They're 50 cents.
50 cents.
So the 50 cents is not keeping us in business.
So why do you keep them on the menu?
Being a baker was my grandfather's passion. So that's one of the reasons why we continue with the bakery.
But Joe's Bakery is kind of a misleading name for the place.
2 tacos?
It's mostly a restaurant, really, and though it carries a man's name, it's been sustained by 4 generations of women.
Yes, ma'am.
It's an immigrant story that starts with Rose's 17-year-old great-grandmother driving a horse carriage north from Mexico.
Crossing the border with 2 young kids.
Yeah.
And she's barely a kid herself.
Without her
No man.
partner.
No partner.
It's been a female-run organization for some time.
In fact, it was one of those little girls in the carriage, Sophia, who first opened a bakery. Only when her son Joe came home from the Korean War with signs of PTSD did she hand him the business as a way to get his life on track. And it worked. Joe and Joe's thrived. Rose took her own path and worked in insurance.
Did not want to do this.
Did not want to do this. This is not what I wanted to do.
Until about 20 years ago, when it seemed Joe and Paula couldn't keep the restaurant going. Paula suggested, as she had in other hard times, that they just shut it down.
And you see the blood, sweat, and tears that your parents have put into this job. And so when he got sick, I said, don't worry about it. We'll get through it.
Joe Avila died in 2010. And recently, his old city has been changed by a new round of newcomers, COVID transplants, including the world's richest man with more of a background in Tex-Mex than Tex-Mex.
Like I tell some people, we're not for everyone.
But Joe's has mostly been embraced by this new Austin and by the wider world. Last year, it won a James Beard Award in the America's Classic category.
It was very, very unexpected. I told my mom, when you win something when you're not even trying, that's just a testament of your hard work.
I kept telling her, are you sure? I bet it's another Joe's, because there's a J-O''S. And then she says, who's going to walk the red carpet with me?
We're just thrilled and we're honored and it's humbling.
After that night of glamour, it was back to East 7th Street at 5 a.m., where the economics of a family-owned restaurant are still a struggle. And the Avilas say safety in the city has become a serious concern for them.
Do you want to keep it going? Should you close the door like Grandma says?
Grandma's been saying that for the last 50 years. But I keep saying, Mom, we still have to work. As long as I have breath in me, we will be here.
For CBS Saturday Morning, Brooke Silva Braga, Austin, Texas.
That generational tension pulling at them for some I mean, amazing goods here. Have you tasted them yet?
Look at this collection we have. Really good, yeah. Some beautiful cookies that they sent for us to have. And love just, again, it's like the energy. Jeff, it was like in your piece, the energy of these people.
I love her. She's like, maybe you should close it. Well, Grandma's been saying that for 50 years.
Yeah.
And the James Beard. Are you sure it's us?
Yeah, of course it is. Love that it's like opening the spectrum up to all sorts of places.
In our James Beard award-winning series, The Dish, an unassuming bakery is taking Houston by storm and drawing fans from all across the country. Pastry chef Fermin Cook celebrates flavors from his Cambodian American heritage and Houston upbringing at Cafeteria. It made the New York Times list of best bakeries in these United States last year, and just yesterday, Cafeteria was named a 2025 James Beard Awards semifinalist for Outstanding Bakery. Janet Shamlian paid a visit to this carb lover's dream.
Every morning before sunrise, Fermin Cook unlocks the key to his passion. A bakery where parchment is the canvas for an artist whose creations like the chocolate and vanilla pan suisse have earned him a coveted James Beard nomination. It's a long way from his first job as a teen in the donut shop of relatives, immigrants who, like his mom and dad, survived Cambodian concentration camps of the 1970s, then fled the country, settling in Houston.
At that time, did you have the cooking bug?
At that time, I was just free labor, so no.
But something about cooking called. Culinary school led to pastry chef jobs across the country before heading back to Houston, opening Cafeteria with his husband, Andreas.
So this is the bake out for tomorrow.
Influenced by both Cambodia and Texas.
Can we talk about size? The size of, the pastries.
Oh, yeah, but that's just all air.
It's not all air.
That's just all air. Air and butter. That's fine. Well, it's Texas, so you gotta have Texas-sized croissants.
And that allows for the sweet and savory surprises inside, like this sticky rice and mango Danish, and a French onion Danish with caramelized Gruyere.
Basically, the way I see croissants is like a vessel. Whatever I want to eat, I can put on the croissant.
Okay. And you're a French onion guy?
I'm a French onion guy. I also love carbs on carbs. So like we've done like a fried rice
Man
Danish.
after my own heart.
Exactly.
Carbs on carbs.
There's a ham and cheese croissant with togarashi spice, and his signature dish, a beef faux stuffed kolache with hoisin and sriracha sauces.
Essentially, it's brisket that's stewed with a little bit of star anise, some charred onions, some Thai chilies.
It is.
It's not bad, right?
Phenomenal.
His customers agree, singing his praises on social media.
I've been coming here for the past 2 years, and they keep getting better. The chef is a creative genius.
It's an eclectic space. Everything comes from secondhand shops. Cook's effort at sustainability. And whatever isn't sold at day's end goes to a nearby nonprofit.
I just feel like that needs to be the new thing in all new restaurants. You need to figure out how you can stop food waste, period.
While his employees run the front of the restaurant, Cook, true to his name,
We're gonna take our milk and just pour it all.
is most comfortable in the kitchen.
Take that first part and then fold a third halfway and then fold the other. Gorgeous.
This is where he feels the heat and his Cambodian roots.
How does your upbringing inspire what you do here?
I tell my story through food. I tell my experiences through food. And you get those crazy flavor combinations. And people always say it's like things that they don't think that would work, but they do when they eat it. And that's my story.
Sweetening the Texas bakery scene with every mouth-watering bite. For CBS Mornings.
I'm not really sure that I got the full...
I think you need to try it again.
Yeah.
I'm Janet Shamlian in Houston.
I know we're all looking around the studio I know someone's going to bring us something out here in a minute.
Come on, Janet.
Crickets.
Well
but didn't
done,
that French onion one look really
looks
good?
delicious.
Oh, looks really good.
Now we know now we know where to go when we go to Houston.
Really
nice.
good. Big, too.
Thank you, thank you.
This morning, our series, The Dish, heads to Houston, one of America's fastest growing food cities. Our Jamie Wax met a Houston native, Gayle Dingayan, whose dishes aren't just a feast for the eyes. The young chef shares how his own background inspired him to use flavors from the Philippines in his dishes at a Japanese restaurant, Money Cat. And that opened the door to a world of culinary possibilities.
Your hands, please.
At Money Cat Restaurant in Houston, Texas, chaos isn't on the menu.
Part of the old generation of yelling and throwing pans, it's just not really sustainable for the industry today. In order for people to enjoy coming to work, you have to show them compassion before they come to cook.
Do you think there's too little of that attitude in the restaurant industry?
Oh yeah, for sure. Thank you.
It's a unique perspective coming from a head chef and might stem from Gio Dingayan being younger than many cooks in similar roles. Much younger.
I have sat across from many chefs de cuisine who work in great food cities. I have never sat across from one who is 22 years old. Was there a point at which your family would come and see what you were creating and say, wow?
I would have to cook dinner like maybe once or twice a week. I have siblings, so we would all take turns kind of cooking. And it kind of just leaned into a sort of competition between me and my siblings who could cook the best, and I think I won.
What was it about him that made you take a gamble on a 22-year-old chef?
It was easy. I honestly really don't look at his age.
When Money Cat owner Sherman Young chose Dingayan to lead his kitchen, he was looking for more than just a skilled chef.
It was a no-brainer for me. I mean, not only his culinary background was good, for me, he was a good person. That's all I can really care for.
We're in the heart of Houston. You got a restaurateur owner of Chinese descent. You're of Filipino descent. And we're eating Japanese-influenced food. Could you ever have imagined this would work so well?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it does.
They want a story, I'm gonna tell them that. The dishes are as much of a melting pot as Houston itself. His take on bagel and lox? Try some squiddick milk bread on for size, with a little burnt honey cream cheese, and otoro, or fatty tuna. Then,
ranch made from seaweed.
Seaweed ranch.
Seaweed ranch, yeah.
Only a brilliant 22-year-old would come up with that.
A lot of nights in the industry, you're hungry after work, you don't want to eat, and what's open? Wingstop.
Nostalgia is a driving force for Dingayan.
No, you don't cut it.
But in this kitchen, his memories are primarily of being a sous chef.
I don't know, the okra seems hard still.
To his mom, Janice.
I just love this kid. Yes. I'm so happy.
I'm her favorite.
Don't say, no, actually all of them are mine.
Dingayan grew up cooking Filipino dishes like this pork and vegetable-filled soup called sinigang. After high school, he skipped college and went straight to culinary school, which didn't go over too well at first.
Don't get her started.
It's Asian culture and everybody wants their kid to go to college. So when he told me about, I want to be, going to culinary school, I was kind of taken aback. But, I'm here to support.
I learned both pastry and savory kitchen, French training. French techniques are great. I love French food, but I'm Asian. I just have to stick to what I know.
What he knows is pretty impressive.
Matcha cheesecake.
From his award-winning bonsai tree.
With 5-step blondie, smoked marshmallow ice cream, charcoal vanilla sponge, and then a chocolate tempered tree with fresh flowers.
Brilliant idea.
To kakagori, shaved ice topped with the sweet corn he grew up eating.
That is fantastic. I taste the honey, the sweetness of the corn. It doesn't seem oversweetened.
The best compliment, an older Asian person can say about dessert is that it's not too sweet.
What would you tell yourself 5 years ago about the journey you're about to take and getting here?
It's a lot of hard work. You have to push yourself. You can't just like to cook, you have to love to cook. And to be serious in this industry if you want to make any change.
So if you like something as much, go do it, because this is going to break your heart.
You have to take time away from work. I do pottery. Finding balance is really important at any job, that you have a life outside of work, for sure.
I wish I was that wise at 22.
Thank you.
For CBS Mornings, Jamie Wax, Houston, Texas.
There we go, Money Cat in Houston.
Yeah.
Got to try it out.
I'm still thinking about burnt honey cream cheese. I would eat that on anything. That sounds so good.
I like
You
that.
was over here, sound like you was in church. You was like, all right, go ahead now.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh, I liked him.
Let's move along to one of our favorite series, and that is The Dish, which today introduces us to a pitmaster making his mark on Texas barbecue. Grant Pinkerton. He didn't study cooking before starting his Pinkerton's barbecue business in a gym parking lot. Now it stretches from Houston to San Antonio and has racked up tons of culinary awards along the way. Our Janice Shamlian spoke with Pinkerton over the summer and learned his personal achievements are even bigger than his barbecue.
The summer heat of Texas is no match for the pit room of Pinkerton's barbecue. And Grant Pinkerton's customers willingly wait in triple-digit temperatures.
All right, welcome in, guys. How are you, sir?
For what's becoming one of the most celebrated barbecue spots.
That's good.
In a state full of award winners.
We cook with nothing but wood. There's
Not bad for a guy who earned a college degree in writing.
You had no cooking experience.
None, zero. Completely self-taught. I read one barbecue cookbook growing up. It was called The Legends of Texas Cookbook.
Fresh out of school, living with his parents, and grilling in the backyard, he floated the career idea by mom and dad.
What's their response?
Well, they thought the food was pretty good. Seeing their support behind me made me feel that it was okay to be a 25-year-old or 26-year-old living on his parents' sofa still, where everybody else had professional corporate jobs.
He'd been working at a gym, then sold barbecue from a trailer in the gym parking lot, opening Pinkerton's Barbecue in this building in 2016, quickly packing the place amid rave reviews for his take on familiar dishes. Brisket, pulled pork, and classic sides are all on the menu, along with a twist on ribs.
These are going to be slightly sweet. They're going to finish with a very subtle heat on the back end. This isn't a traditional Texas rib. That would just have salt and pepper on it. But like when I got into this, I said, when I'm going to make barbecue, I'm going to make it like I like to eat it. And this is how I like to eat my ribs.
Let's go.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Within 2 years, he'd been named to the Forbes 30 Under 30 food and drink list, the first pitmaster ever selected, in part for what he did after Hurricane Harvey in 2017, when much of Houston was underwater and in the dark.
I put a sign on the front door that said, come hell or high water, we're going to have liquor, AC, and barbecue. Through the course of the next 3 or 4 days, we were feeding first responders around the clock.
But as Pinkerton was publicly building his career in barbecue, privately, he was battling the demons of addiction. In a social media post this summer, the 34-year-old revealed he'd reached a milestone 10 years of sobriety after an addiction to heroin and prescription pills, one that ended before he opened his restaurant.
And you pretty much laid it on the line. Why did you do that?
I just see so many families that are devastated by addiction. And I wanted to help destigmatize addiction. Every other disease we have, it's okay to talk about treating it. But if you're an addict that's using drugs, most people just want to walk away.
Pinkerton wrote he'd been silent for too long. The message has been viewed several 100,000 times.
What's the last couple months been like since you put that out there?
Well, I don't have to turn down beers anymore when people come into my restaurant and say, oh, can I buy you a beer? I said, I don't have to deal with that anymore, so I'm pretty happy about that. But it's been awesome. Every day I get a message from somebody else.
Now with a second restaurant.
Big, 1 pound.
More than 90 employees. And a couple of World Championship barbecue titles to his name.
This is going to be the money bite right there.
That's the money bite. That's the money.
Pinkerton, a husband and new dad to 10-month-old Charlotte, is becoming known not just for creating perfection in the pit, but for reminding us it's okay not to be perfect.
I was afforded another chance at life, right? And so my philosophy is every day we're going to wake up, we're going to try to help somebody else.
A pit boss bringing the heat.
How am I doing?
Perfect. Looks great.
And shining a light. For CBS Mornings, I'm Janet Shamlian in Houston.
Bravo, Grant Pinkerton. Just another reason to take a trip to Texas. He knows what he's doing.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Oh, I could lick the screen.
No matter what, those dishes always leave me salivating.
Yeah, but I like his backstory, though,
Yeah.
that he's overcome and wants to destigmatize.
Yeah.
People know he got a second chance. Talk about paying it forward. He's certainly doing that, too.
Just goes to show you, if you exercise your demons, you can end up on the other side of success.
Yes.
And that's what he's doing right now. That was awesome.
A Houston-based chef living out the American dream. Victoria Elizondo of Cochinita & Co. didn't learn English until she was 12 and fought to get out of the kitchen before finding herself drawn back in. She'd built her business from scratch and now is reaping the rewards from both the critics and, more importantly, from the neighborhood. We visited the newly named James Beard semifinalists in Houston to learn how she honors her community and her Mexican heritage through her food.
Gorrito, 13. La Luna, 23.
At Cochinita & Co., Tuesday night is all about loteria.
El Soldado, 34.
Bingo with a Mexican twist.
Arbol.
Hosted by chef and owner Victoria Elizondo.
El Diablito, awesome.
It's just one way Elizondo has transformed this East End space into a neighborhood spot.
People come here every day, sometimes even multiple times a day.
That's because Elizondo offers up more than just fun and games, serving Mexican cuisine inspired by the food of her childhood in Monterrey, Mexico.
I haven't been able to go back to my country in like over 18 years actually. It was really affecting me because I felt disconnected and of course unhappy. So my business brings Mexico to me. It has built a bridge for me to connect back to my culture, my country. It's been amazing.
As is the food. We started with some simple chips and guacamole, which you definitely don't want to pass over.
Isn't it amazing? We actually pack those totopos with the tortilla chips, and we sell hundreds of bags every week.
Oh my God, these chips are amazing.
Yeah.
Then there are the vegan tostaditas, made with local mushrooms.
And then we cook them with a chipotle salsa, and then we make an avocado crema with cashew yogurt.
Cochinita pibil tacos.
So we marinate it with oranges, habanero, garlic, bay leaves. We wrap it all up and throw it in the oven for a lot of hours.
This is delicious.
And an untraditional mole.
We actually mix it with mole rojo, which is more of a spicy mole. I like the negro and I like the rojo, so I combine them together to make like my unique balance.
When she was 12 years old, Elizondo and her mom moved to the U.S. from Mexico without documentation. She told me her mom wanted a better life for her, but without her dad's help, it was difficult to get a visa. Elizondo would eventually become protected as a deferred action for childhood arrivals, or DACA, recipient.
What do you remember about coming to the United States first?
It was very tough, very, very tough.
Did you speak English?
No, not at all, no. I learned it very fast, and then as soon as I felt comfortable enough, at the age of 15, I got my first job, being a cashier at a rotisserie chicken restaurant.
Elizondo's love of food was inspired by the women in her family, especially her mother, Graciela, who Elizondo says was overworked and underpaid at her jobs in food service.
When you become a DACA recipient, you get a social security and a work permit. And I was like, as soon as I get it, I'm out of this industry. I am going to live my American dream and just go get an office job. And I did. I was out by 5 p.m. I had weekends off. I had holidays paid. And I hated it. I hated every minute of it. I was not happy. I found myself scrolling the computer through recipes. I would call my friends that were still working at the restaurant. I'm like, hey, how's everything going? Is it busy?
She eventually quit her 9-to-5 gig for culinary school, going on to earn her chops at top Houston restaurants, including Pax Americana under Chef Martha Wilcox.
She was a great example of how I wanted to do things. She was very humble. She was there every day. She cared about her team. It was very inspiring working for her.
With money from an income tax return, Elizondo started her own business, catering events and doing pop-ups. She opened an outpost in a new Houston food hall, but the timing was wrong. It was early 2020.
The pandemic started right after we opened there, so it was shut down very quickly. My mom is a great cook. I knew she made amazing tamales, and everybody was going through a rough time, and I felt like they just want comfort food. So I was like, make some tamales, I'll post it on social media, I'll deliver them. People were ordering a lot of them, and it got to the point where Houston is huge. So I had to drive 4 hours, deliver all of these tamales.
A corporate account with Houston-based Kickin' Kombucha eventually led to a permanent spot here, where Elizondo runs the food program. And last year, she released a cookbook titled Taco-tastic.
Tacos are a love language. It's something that you eat when you need comfort, when you need love, when you are celebrating. To me, it's amazing seeing how much of an impact tacos have made in this country. Like, it doesn't matter the color of your skin, your nationality, your religion, like everybody knows what a taco is. Being able to share a cookbook with 60 taco recipes, it's pretty cool.
Sharing love.
Elizondo still works with Mom Graciela, serving up their signature comfort food to loyal customers.
I'm wondering if what you've created here is some of that what your mom maybe dreamed of when she did move here.
Yes, Graciela says, she's helping fulfill her daughter's dream, but at the same time, it's both their dreams being fulfilled.
Aquí le falta que mami el fideo. Ya está enfrente.
If not more recently, exceeded.
You have also been named a Rising Chef semifinalist by the James Beard Foundation.
That was even harder to believe. I still can't wrap my head around it.
I saw that look in your eyes.
Yeah. I never imagined that we would get acknowledged for doing comfort food and for doing just good food. I thought it was something, you know, you had to be like a fine dining chef. You know, we don't even have our own restaurant, more of like a pop-up. It was surreal. It still is.
I need more excitement. Thank you. Okay, not that much. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Thank you all so much.
And, you know, there's more excitement coming because actually she's able to expand now in that space and get more of a traditional restaurant that you might expect. And I should get the James Beard title correct. It's Emerging Chef was the semifinalist award for her. Cheers to you guys. I tried to get you chips, and once again, we had a little problem with the mail delivery system. So I apologize, but a toast, obviously, to Victoria Elizondo, who's doing some great stuff here in Houston.
Convenient excuse.
Cheers to you, Dana, and cheers to that wonderful story.
Very good story. So this tea has hibiscus, cinnamon, orange, and agave in it.
It's very good. I like the cinnamon to it, too. And I love what also she says about how tacos is really a love language. And you see how that just runs through how she spent that time in the kitchen with her own mom, and now she's sharing it with others.
Very nice. Taco-tastic.
All right, let's turn to our series, The Dish, which today serves up some Texas barbecue with an international twist that is both unexpected and delicious. The Arlington, Texas restaurant called Smoke and Ash was the brainchild of a married couple who combined the food of their childhoods to create a recipe for success. Jamie Wax got to sample the menu, and he joins us now to talk about it. Jamie, sounds delicious. Good morning.
It was delicious, Flag. Good morning. You might not think Ethiopian and Texan cuisine would mix, but when Fasika and Patrick Hicks combined their recipes, they created an international sensation. Both cuisines start with smoke, the common thread at Smoke and Ash, and end with full, happy stomachs and a lot of used napkins.
So we're going from Texas to Ethiopia to St. Louis with this platter.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. This is global barbecue here.
Sometimes the most unexpected combinations from the most unexpected places make the most surprising culinary delights.
Look at the cap of melted fat on that. That is just gorgeous. That is beautiful.
Like at Smoke and Ash,
This unassuming restaurant in a small strip mall in Arlington, Texas, has all you'd expect in a barbecue place, like ribs and brisket.
Oh, I'm going to steal a rib tip from your beautiful platter.
All right.
Boy, that is perfect. Just tender and smoky, and you haven't even finished it yet.
But the secret sauce brings an international flair, with spice rubs and sauces from Ethiopia.
I have the berbere sauce, which is, we call it awaze.
And this blend of Southwest U.S. and East Africa is deliciously unique.
Now I can see why your customers are so loyal, because they literally can't get this anywhere else.
Not nowhere else.
Nowhere else.
Patrick Hicks is a born and bred Texan from Waco. His wife, Asika Hicks, is from Addis Ababa, the capital of Ethiopia. They met in 1997 after she immigrated to Texas.
The first date was at IHOP, and I ordered like the chicken fried steak with eggs, pancakes. Yeah.
This was about food from the very beginning.
Oh, yeah.
From the start, yes.
Both of them like to cook, and Patrick's barbecue became a favorite of Asika's Ethiopian family. Seeing her family's delight gave her an idea.
I was telling him, hey, you know what, we can make money selling this food. So we bought a trailer and make some extra money on the weekend. Before we know it, we start forming lines because people look forward to our cooking every weekend.
And then that blossomed into this place.
Very true.
Yes,
But this was still traditional Texas barbecue.
That's right.
Yes, yeah.
And in 2019, you had a great inspiration.
Yes, I got bored with his cooking. So I was telling him, hey, why don't I make an Ethiopian food and sell it on the side?
It wasn't long before that Ethiopian food on the side became part of the main menu, and the Hicks can thank their customers for that.
I had customers who come in, for example, for the vegan combo we have, and they come to tell us on the register, hey, can I add the half pound of brisket to go with it? Can you put them on the same plate?
Only in Texas does someone order the vegan combo with a side of brisket.
Right. So I was just saying, okay, always take care of your customers, because I was kind of hesitant.
With diners enjoying the two tastes together, the couple decided just having the meal share the same plate wasn't enough.
Some meat-mita, mix it up together.
Why not have the flavors combined in the same recipe? To guarantee the authenticity, Fasika's sister gathers Ethiopian spices in Addis Ababa and ships them to Texas. And the result is perhaps the only Ethiopian Texas barbecue on the planet.
And here's your St. Louis style cut pork ribs, smoked with berbere.
The signature dish at Smoke and Ash, the Tex-Ethiopian platter, naturally.
We have smoked ribs, collard green.
Featuring American barbecue staples from brisket to catfish to Texas toast, as well as Ethiopian dishes like chicken doro wat.
We have some tortillas, or we call it kita in Ethiopia, and the barbecue sauce, which is spiced with berbere as well.
There's another secret ingredient behind the success of Smoke and Ash, and it's not uniquely Ethiopian or Texan.
When it comes to food, for me, it's just about togetherness. You work on it with love and care, and you make it to be the best thing on the plate.
And Smoke and Ash is doing so well, they're actually looking for a bigger place. I think they'll be even busier after people see this. It's worth a trip to Arlington, it really is.
When I was a foreign correspondent based in Africa, that's when I came to realize that a lot of the foods that we eat, especially the foods that are made down south, have a direct influence from what happened on the continent, obviously through the transatlantic slave trade. But there is a way to marry those flavors today.
Makes complete sense to me. Love the red trays and the styrofoam cups, too.
It is a genuine gem of a place, and there's nothing gimmicky about this food. It's very thoughtful, some of the most delicious food I've ever eaten.
Wow.
Makes me want to go, Jamie Wax.
I do eat a lot. I could drive in the HOV lane in Texas with that food baby I had after.
You may fail. You may fail on that.
You're definitely getting a ticket.
I want that interview, too, Jamie Wax. You pregnant, I want that interview.
Many cities and states boast of having the best barbecue. You've heard the claims from Kansas City, Memphis, and North Carolina. And of course, add Texas to that list, where it seems like there's a joint on every corner. But few can claim the rich heritage of Davila's barbecue. We asked our Texas correspondent, CBS's Janet Shamlian, to give it a try.
41. I got you. I got you guys.
In the city of Seguin,
There you are.
Davila's barbecue is destination dining.
41. Sí.
And it's destiny for Adrian Davila.
This is where I'm in my element the most, is fire, meat.
He's a third-generation pitmaster. 6 decades after his grandfather started the restaurant in an old schoolhouse. Cooking in front, the family living in back.
Whenever you're trying to live up to such a legend as my grandfather was in the community, as far as the barbecue space, like he was grand master because he didn't leave the pits. Every stick of wood, every piece of meat, every sausage that was hung, it's him. His decision only. Nobody else touched the pits. So that barbecue always came out with his stamp on it.
And you felt that responsibility?
Absolutely. My hairs are standing up right now.
You still do?
I still do.
Raul Davila was a butcher by trade. Indelible memories for Adrian.
I remember him taking something that at the time was so primal as a big cut of meat and breaking it down and making something beautiful with it. And when it came out onto the table and people enjoyed it, that was astonishing to me.
Adrian's dad, Edward, took over in the mid-90s, making his own mark.
Thank you, sir. 46.
But never asking his son to work in the family business.
Did you have 46? Yeah. Okay.
Envisioning something better, even though it's all Adrian wanted.
But when, again, I was able to see what it created and how you created memories with food. Birthdays, celebrations, anniversaries, weddings, you create memories. And I just, that hooked me. All right, guys.
So did his family's culinary history.
This is your place?
All right, yes, this is the ranch. This is where my wife
Inspired by vaqueros, Mexican cattle herders, Davila took us to his ranch.
This is what we call a barbacoa en pozo.
For a look at how they slow-cooked meat, like this lamb, in an underground pit.
Let's see if the magic happened. You know how they have like the pool?
Oh my goodness.
A tradition he's keeping alive today.
Look at that.
Is that ready to eat?
When it's falling apart like that, there's nothing but. Moist. You see the seeds of the tomato, the onion, and the jalapeno?
The Carols would celebrate like this, Davila says. An outdoor feast at a colorful table.
It takes a lot of love and passion to create all this, and that's what makes it so satisfying. I'm gonna get some. Oh, okay, listen.
Influenced by the past, but with an eye to the future, Adrian now runs Davila's. That means new items, like the barbecue grilled cheese sandwich, chopped brisket, sauteed onions.
Just a little butter on there, huh?
Texas toast, and lots of cheese.
Get every little bit in there. You have to try this.
Okay.
This is
Now one of the best-selling on the menu.
That's unbelievable.
We sell more of these per day than we do our regular barbecue sandwiches.
Really?
Imagine that.
As if we needed more, Davila prepared for us just about everything he sells. Their signature sausage, still hand-tied every day.
This is exactly the way my grandfather made it. We're not changing the recipe.
Ribs are a barbecue staple and almost always pork. But here, they're lamb.
Go ahead and have a short bite.
Okay.
And then the vinegar of the pickle is what you got to follow up with. Dip it right into the sauce.
Dessert is big red cake.
Let's have a big red cake.
Do you do this to go?
Yes. One of our biggest sellers right there.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Made with soda of the same name, a tribute to his grandparents.
So as Big Red as
my goodness.
my siblings and I would go to Grandma and Grandpa's house, there was that big red cake in the fridge. It's our favorite thing.
For Adrian Davila, it's always been about family. From his wife Sarah, his inspiration and teammate, to the men who held the title, Davila's pitmaster, before him.
I was watching your dad watch you,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't see it, but I saw the pride in his eyes. He's so proud of you.
That's what we all want, right? We're born with this inherent trait to satisfy our parents. It's human. Everybody wants to satisfy their parents, right? Everybody wants to make their parents and their family proud.
The steward of a proud family legacy.
Ya está muy caliente.
Davila's, one of a kind. For CBS Saturday Morning, I'm Janet Shamlian in Seguin, Texas.
I love the fact that he wants to make his papa and mama proud.
Well, he's done more than that.
Yeah, he certainly has.
And he's brought in some food for us here as well. I mean, this looks incredible. And
dig in, but Janet had a field day on that dish.
What
Can I just say, she did it right.
I want that grilled cheese.
And look
too,
at
man.
this.
Yeah.
This is whiskey, right?
For a
That we're
little bourbon,
supposed to
I think,
pour it
actually.
in
Wow.
here.
Yeah, and a little sweet tea, because that's how they do it. Cheers.
Here, here.
To Davila's, right?
To Davila's.
Yeah.
insanely good.